Hello, everybody, and welcome to the sixth episode of Just Your Brain. Just Your Brain was created with the purpose to make you think outside of the box. No comments will be deleted, no reposts will be flagged as copyright, and no edits will be infringement. Today, sadly, wasn't able to find my cigar, my favorite cigar, but I was able to find one of the beers I like the most. It's called Moretti. It's one of the first beers that I tasted when I came here to Italy almost 4 years ago. And since I have been drinking this whenever I feel like drinking. Today we're gonna cover a new topic, one that I think that a lot of people need to hear, and it is regarding what I will say that at least 90% of the world population thinks is the purpose of life, and it is finding happiness, finding joy, finding these positive emotions, right?
Ale. No, 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 no.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Dai,
I just had little interruption here. But like I was saying, I think that 90% of the world thinks that this is the purpose of life, right? The purpose of life is to be happy, is to be joyful. And I will say it's really, it has a good motivation behind because nobody enjoys feeling sad, nobody enjoys feeling angry, but everybody enjoys feeling happy. Well, I in that regard, I will say I'm particularly different because I'm not someone who enjoys that much being happy. I enjoy a lot more the struggle and the battle of the constant search of a deeper purpose, or what many of you will say hustle. I enjoy a lot more the hustle part of life. I enjoy a lot more whenever I suffer and I grow through that suffering. And I search for it pretty often, and in this path of searching for the purpose, which I think I have already found, this path of getting closer to what I think is my everyday duty of conquering my own purpose, I sometimes find happiness. And whenever I find happiness, I do appreciate it. I do think it is it is easy to enjoy. It's an emotion that is easy to enjoy. But I don't, I will not say that is the emotion that I enjoy feeling the most, or that I search forward the most. On the purpose of this, I developed a really interesting metaphor to make you understand why searching for happiness, I don't think is a good way to make it the purpose of your life. Excuse me. Holy shit. Well, that happens. The reason behind that is that you have to think of life as, let's say, I will make a metaphor example, right? You are feeling really thirsty, and you go to this shop where you can buy any kind of juice you want, but they also have natural juices, and you say, okay, I will get a natural one today. So I want a juice of mixed fruits, and the lady or the man that is going to make it for you is going to say, okay, they're going to throw in a bunch of different fruits, and they are going to mix them together, and they are going to give it to you, and you're going to start tasting this drink, right? Imagine that your favorite fruit is the apple, and that you wanted to only taste the apple every single time that you taste the drink. It will not be realistic. Why will it not be realistic? Because you are drinking juice that is made from different fruits. So it's not realistic that you only want to taste the apple. You should have requested only an apple juice. So every time that you taste it and you feel any other fruit, you're gonna get angry, you're gonna get upset because you're not feeling the fruit that you want to feel. Now you can take all these fruits and we can make each one of them one emotion. So we can say the apple is happiness. We can say pineapple is whenever you feel upset. We can say that, and whenever you feel the pear, it is because you feel sad. it doesn't matter. You can make the fruits whatever emotion you want. But what I'm trying to tell to you here is that the juice in itself will be life, and every single one of the fruits will be a different emotion, right? And of course, trying to focus on tasting only one single fruit will be the same as trying to feel one single emotion in life. When you know that life is made from different emotions, life is that mixed juice of fruits, but in this case, it's a mix of emotions that we have biologically in our body. So, saying that your purpose in life is that you only want to feel happy is like tasting the juice and only wanted to feel the apple when you know that there are so many other fruits in there. And I think that you will get lost. You will get lost because it will be basically impossible to always feel happy 100% of the time. It can definitely be achievable, but the path that you have to take in your personal life to achieve the state of pure joy and eternal joy is going to be a really particular path that I don't think many of the people that are really searching for that specific objective are willing to take. So I don't think it is a really logical way to analyze life. I think we are lost in the emotions, and being lost in the emotions is not going to take us anywhere. It's only going to take you to more suffering. And if that's the thing that you are trying to avoid, then you are basically looking at it the wrong way. On my opinion, for you it can be different, right? Everybody has their own opinions. So I think that it's really important that we learn to appreciate every single emotion there is. I think that it is really important that we learn to understand that life is not only happiness, life is also sadness, life is also getting angry, getting upset sometimes. Life is so many different emotions, and all of them are important for our survival and for our understanding of our surroundings. And we should not underestimate the importance of any of these emotions. So, feeling and trying to feel happy all the time is only going to take you to more suffering if you are not doing the right things that will actually take you to that kind of result or that kind of objective, which I will say is the only way, one of the only ways that you can get there is by meditation and by really investing a lot of your lifetime into meditation and into understanding how you work inside until you get to the point that you can manifest happiness whenever you want. And it is going to be an extremely long and hard battle to make, but it is possible. At one point, will not longer feel like a battle because meditation is a particular procedure, but that's the only way I think that's the only way I currently know that you can get to 100% or 99% happiness all of the time. Like I said before, there might be other ways, but the only way that I currently know that you can get to feeling happy most of the time is by focusing on the meditation, but for a long period of your life. So now that we can open our minds to the fact that every single emotion is important and that we have to appreciate every single emotion. I think that it is now that you go outside of the happiness is the ultimate goal of my life, and you start to see everything as it is, and you start to give the value to every single emotion that it deserves, because every single emotion deserves to have a value. It is here for something. Then you're going to say, well, if happiness is not the purpose of life, then what should I do? It means I should only suffer, and I should then look for those minuscule amount of moments that will give me that emotion that I prefer the most. And I do not think like this either when it comes to this part of the equation. Let's say I think that as a species, we need to focus more on teaching young people what suffering is here for and how to transform suffering into something positive with the power of the mind. It is possible to transform suffering into something positive. Of course, violence and if you're being like, let's say, if we go back to slavery, if you're a slave and you're being hit by other people physically, it's extremely hard to change that kind of physical pain that's coming from an external source into something positive, because they are directly contacting your nerve, and your nerves are directly sending messages to your brain that something negative is going on. Of course, you're not going to be able to focus on changing that into something positive. But I'm not talking about the kind of physical pain, because in a sense, also going to the gym, of course, is physical pain, but it's easier to be transformed into something positive because you have this sense of growth. You know you're growing, and you know you're pushing towards having a healthier and stronger body. But if I'm talking a lot more about emotional pain and psychological pain. Teaching people how to transfer psychological and emotional pain to something positive and suffering is really, really important. Most of us think that suffering is something negative. We want to avoid it every single time. I don't know, want to avoid suffering, psychological suffering. No, I look for it. I get myself into positions that will make me experience psychological suffering. And I do not do it in a sense of trying to make my life try to look for problems that have no sense, but I do it by searching difficult paths, doing difficult decisions that are going to cause me stress and psychological pain, and then I use the power of the mind to transform the pain and the psychological stress into something positive, because pain and suffering have lessons behind. If you look carefully into every single situation that you experience psychological and emotional pain, you can transform it into something positive. My girlfriend left me. She cheated on me with my best friend, which is something that happened to me. Well, you can transform it into something positive. Now you understand that your best friend was not your best friend, so you can take out of your life one person that was clearly not thinking in what was best for you, and you can also get outside of your life a girlfriend that in the long term will have caused more harm, because in the long term maybe you could have felt more in love with her, and the more love you felt, the more pain you will have felt when she cheated on you. So automatically transform into something positive. I look into it. I look into every single situation that gives me psychological pain and emotional pain, and I transform it into something positive. I look for the lessons behind. And looking for the lesson behind has made me extremely wise and extremely strong. It doesn't mean that I will never suffer again. It doesn't mean that I will never cry again. It doesn't mean that I will never get upset again. What it means is that even if that happens, I will look for the positive behind, and I will learn and I will grow stronger. Which in the end means that every single time something doesn't go how I want it to go, or something happens in a way that I do not feel comfortable with, I will grow even stronger. And in the long term, I will be able to achieve my goal, because every single time I fell made me stronger and made me a more determined person, more disciplined person. And it helped me build an iron mind, which is really important. So, searching for happiness is going to bring more suffering, because you cannot feel happy all the time. You need to learn to appreciate all the emotions that there are. And when suffering and the negative emotions come, you need to understand that are lessons behind, and that the lessons that are behind are really, really important and are here to make you grow and to not make the same mistakes again, and to take you closer to what will be your goal, if you have one. If you don't have one, I would recommend you to search for one, to create one. We have the mind. With the power of the mind, we can do many things. So understand this: suffering is not a bad thing, pain is not a bad thing, sadness is not a bad thing. We have associated all of these emotions with we have the two we have the two aspects that we most likely analyze life every single time, and it is negative and positive. We have associated pain, suffering, sadness with negative emotions, and joy, happiness, and all these emotions that make you feel good instantly. We have associated them with the positive side, and we look from really close. If we look at emotions and the things that are going on from really, really close, we're like right here, we can see pain, suffering, and we're attached to that pain, attached to that suffering. We can see happiness and joy, and we're attached to the happiness, attached to the joy. Then it is that way. These are positive emotions and these are negative emotions. Because, of course, when it comes to having a relationship with our surroundings, the negative emotions make us behave in a way that are not are not going to positively impact our life regarding the society that we have outside, and the positive emotions are going to bring us more positive results and rewards depending on the things that you want, of course, regarding our society, the society that we have outside. But of course it is in percentage, in percentage, right? Because if the society gives you more, it means it is something positive. And of course, having this positive energy attached to you, joy and happiness, are going to make society give you more. Having the negative emotions attached to you are going to make society give you less. Like I said before, it depends on what you want. If you don't care about society, then maybe having this negative emotion is not that negative for you, but for other people, it might be. But what I'm trying to say here is that when we look from when we're attached to the emotions and we're looking in real time to the things that are going around us and how we are communicating to the our surroundings, then we see everything as positive and negative. But when you take some distance and you look at it from afar, you start to see the complete picture. And when you see the complete picture, everything changes. When you understand that pain, suffering, happiness, joy, there's no positive or negative. These are all terms that we have created because, of course, of the way that we relate to our environment, and our brain being wired to keep us alive, to go for to look for survival. Of course, feeling pain and sadness is something negative because it is going to take you closer to death and away from survival, and our brain is wired to make us survive. But once you step away to from even these basic instincts and you start to see everything, you start to see the complete picture. There's no positive, there's no negative. There are emotions as they are. Our body biologically has a purpose and goes towards a direction, the direction of reproduction and the direction of survival. But if we even take these things out of context with the power of consciousness, we can see that emotions are just emotions. Emotions are just a production of hormones in our body that allow us to communicate and to see the environment that we have around in a particular way. And the way we use it, it's all up to you. It's all up to me. The way I use pain is all up to me. Give me pain. Of course, like I said before, physical pain is harder to change into something positive with the power of the mind. If of course, because physical pain is attached to your body, so it's really, really hard for you to unattach from it and to start to transform it into something different. But you can see this with some fighters. I don't know if I watch a lot of boxing and MMA, and in some fights you can see when people are getting hit and they start to smile, and you say, why he's getting hit, why is he smiling? Because he's able to transform the pain into something positive. He's able to do it with the power of his mind. He understands that every time he gets hit, it's a chance to get stronger and to come back. And that is something that not many people are able to understand. But once you do, everything changes. Everything becomes different. Once you see it. So I want to end this video with inviting you to look at every emotion from a neutral point, to unattach yourself from your emotions and to look at them as what they are. A certain production of hormones in your body that make you communicate and translate the information that comes from the outside world in a particular way so that you can get closer to your survival and away from death, closer to your objectives and away from failure. But is failure really that bad? Is death really that bad? I don't think so. That is part of life. Emotions are part of life. Pain is part of life. If you learn to use the power of your mind, you will find a way to make everything positive. If that's what you wish to do, of course.